and today we have our first interstate guest, which is a big woohoo for me because I started off just doing a few Melbourne bands. Now we're sort of spreading out a little bit. Today I've got Andrew from Comacozer. How you going, man?
Dude, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Got a little bit of time off work, so I'm very happy.
Yeah.
You know, it's I'm still locked in the house, but I'm not doing work. I'm doing music and stuff, so I'm happy.
Man, I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain.
I think the only cool thing about having all these lockdowns and stuff is I've saved up a lot of annual leave, so you know, which is a new thing for me. I've been notorious for wasting it for years. Anyway,
look, it's the same here. I think for me, a lot of time just to tinker on the old drums and cars and stuff. So what do you do?
Exactly. All right, mate. So we'll kick off with some questions, and the first one up is tell me who you are, tell me about your band, give me a bit of a thing, give me a bit of a summary who you are.
Okay, so I'm Andrew. Well, everyone calls me Pana because I've got this really freaking long Greek surname. I play drums and percussion, obviously in Comacozer. You know what? It's actually, I had a bit of a laugh with the boys this morning because before we were going to do this, I had to message them and go, "Hey, when did we actually end off?" Because I couldn't actually remember. So found out that early 2014, when we all sort of got together, and I knew Rich from another band that we were sort of just dicking around with, and then I think back in the day, I can't even remember the website, but it was some online website, with musicians wanted, and we put a thing up for a guitar player, and we found Rick, and sort of all got together, and made it just gelled. And look, those two boys are on the old fart in the group. Those boys are a lot younger than I, but we just sort of gelled. There was no real intention of what sort of style we were going to play. Look, my background is I played drums in grind, hardcore, power violence bands. So just with age, look, I'd always been into stoner doom psych, but I think just as time went on, it's one of those things. I'm like, playing at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and how many fills I can do, and all that type of stuff was just, I sort of got a bit over it, and so it just sort of worked out from there. Like I said, we kicked off 2014. I think we played our first live show. It was either December 2014 or January 2015 at Valve Bar in Sydney, which no longer exists. Then just sort of all went from there, and then obviously the demos and recording and stuff like that. And then, I think we're in theory, we're looking like, I think it's 8 years in the new year. So it's been a while.
Yeah, nice. So when you say you sort of all came together and you didn't sort of sit down and plan out what you were going to sound like, talk to me about some of the influences and stuff. So the influences that sort of came through in that, what sort of other bands were there?
You know what? We'll probably have to put this into two streams, right? I think the three of us, all three of us are on the same wavelength. Look, Sabbath, absolutely, like freaking everyone. It's Sabbath, Floyd, Deep Purple, The Doors, Baltimore, Mountain, Buffalo. So it was, a lot of that sort of 70s stuff we had, where the synergy was. I think Rich, look, I'm probably, being my age, look, I'm the group. Not saying, look, Rick is as well. But, I grew up, as the bands I obviously just listed, I grew up on, from probably 11, 12 years of age, the Battery, Venom, Creator, Sodom. For me, it was just that mid-80s era that sort of influenced me there.
Yeah.
But my turning point was musically was seeing Kyuss in '93 supporting Metallica. That was that moment in your life you just sit there and you go, holy shit, what am I watching here? Like, I just remember these four guys coming on looking like, wearing no shoes, playing guitar through bass amps, and I'm like, what is this? And then I will never forget it, and I love telling this story, that as soon as they ripped into that opening rip of Gardenia, it was like, I couldn't have cared if Metallica had played after that half-hour set. So that was probably my journey into that genre as such.
Man, what an introduction.
Oh, mate, like I said, we went there. I was there as a 18, 19-year-old.
Yep.
And, the boys and I, like you do as 19-year-olds, we hit the cans and we've gone, let's go and watch his support band. And I'm like, who are they? I no idea. We'll go watch them anyway. And what was sort of just took the cake is that not many people were in there. So we were on the barrier right next to Josh Homme's rig. And like I said, it's just one of those things. After the show, it was like, what have they got out? And I think the Sky Valley album had just come out, I think. That was like, who are these guys? And then it just got me into so much other music, Yawning Man and, that whole desert sort of scene. And then it just went, but in saying that, Rick's a big metalhead as well. Like, he's in the black metal, but then he's into electronica. The musical taste is so good. Going back to your original question, is that we got together. I think the great thing was that, like you do, you chat about music, who you're into. Rich was into, Rich loves the Foo Fighters, loves Kyuss, loves Queens of the Stone Age. And then we sort of Rick just had a few riffs, and then we just sort of went into it, and it was so organic. And I think that's the beauty about what we do, is that we can go on a tangent. We'll rehearse, and later we're just, it's like, okay, look, we better stop now. And look, Don't get me wrong, we've done that in the studio, and we'll get to that later on. But that's really, there was never like, we want to play 4-minute songs or we want to sound like this. There was never to have a vocalist. It just turned out that way as we went on. Yeah. We're like, nah, don't want one. We'll just keep doing what we're doing, right? And we enjoyed it, and that's how it went.
That's magic. I love that organic nature of how things develop. I mean, it's that kind of flip side. You've got some people who will just get into a room and they'll just play, and something will form organically. And then you've got the other side that it's planned out. It's planned out really well. But I think to be successful, you can't have just one. There's got to be a bit of each in each. And it just depends on which side you go to. Like, you might be more experimental, but you might be planning more in your where you play and how those sort of aspects. And we're about, you and I are about the same vintage. So, we turn up when we say we're going to turn up, those sort of aspects. That's more your planning sort of stuff and making sure you're there and all that kind of gear. If you're all just playing off the cuff and you're just turning up when you turn up and you're late and shit, success is really hard.
Look, don't get me wrong. I understand certain genres obviously got to be huge amount of structure, whether you're playing death metal or you're playing pretty intricate style of music or whatever it may be. I totally get it, and it'll be about the riffs more than anything else, right? Where what we found and on was, for us, it was the journey, and it's always been the journey. So, you know, and again, it's one not for everyone, and we found out pretty early on that, you know, it doesn't matter what scene you're in, being instrumental and playing songs like ours that are 10 to 20 minutes long, it's very niche, right? And some people will understand it, some people just won't, right? That's how it is. But even the funny thing with us is that when you're starting to talk to you, like, we can go from 1 minute being trippy as hell, then it just turning on its head and just pulling out just a pretty heavy doom riff. But the most important thing, and again, totally organic, is the music's always been very dark psych.
Yeah.
It's not King Gizzard style, you know, it's not real happy. It does have a bit of the darkness, or it does have a lot of Middle Eastern feel in it too. So yeah, it's just always how it's been. We'll just go into the rehearsal studio and, you know, I've had people ask me the question before, how do you remember it all? And it's like, we never, ever played our songs the same way twice, ever. Because I don't remember half of the stuff I played, and neither do the other boys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we never have. The only song of all the LPs that will have, I wouldn't even call it structure, but you'll sort of get a gist of it, which is Helios Hyperion, which is the first song we ever wrote, and we've re-recorded it on how we play it now.
Yep.
And even then, you hear it was the first song we ever wrote, and you hear it now, it's not the same song other than one riff. So, yeah, so I'm even lying now by saying that, because they're not.
But at the same time, I mean, you know, you see that with some of the massive, like you mentioned before, Foo Fighters and stuff. I mean, even they realize that after 10, 20 years, you got to change it up a little bit. You know, you can't play the same track the same way every time. You know, I mean, you can. There are certain bands and genres where you can, and they do. But you know, as a punter, you know, oh man, they played that differently the last time. Fantastic. Yeah, I've seen something new. I've heard something new. This is good.
I'm with you on stuff like that. You know, seeing the band live, it's a bigger band. If they change it up a bit, I'm okay with it. Yeah. Like, you know, as long as it's not it's not like they've changed the entire song. But you know, if there's a bit of a jam somewhere in there, like, great, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It goes back to, you know, look, and we can go on with the Metallica debate, right? Because everyone loves to talk about it. Yes, am I a fan of the first 3 albums? Absolutely.
With you.
Look, they're gonna do what you can't replicate those albums, right? Do I dislike anything after that? Yeah, right. But it is what it is. Good luck to it. It's, you know, if you want to listen to it, listen to it. If you don't.
Yeah, like, exactly. Exactly.
You know, they're unbelievable musicians and songwriters, and they developed.
Absolutely, and things are always going to change, you know. And like you were saying, you know, you guys have, you know, things change over time, and
absolutely,
it's a natural part, and it's a good thing. It sounds great. So what I do want to ask you is, of all the gigs you've played, I want you to think about the venue, how the music felt, the punters, how much beer you had in you. What was your best? What was your favorite gig that you've played? You know, what sort of was the, you know, and what about it was good?
Hard question. I'll tell you why. When the best thing we've ever done is when we went and did the Aussie tour with Nazatris in 2019, right? one of our favourite bands as well. And look, they're a bunch of young guys, right? So and they've been around probably even less than us, but the tour itself was so much fun. As far as, like I said, it was 2 weeks of hanging out and boozing up and playing awesome shows. So if I'm going to split it into two, because the one show where the venue was really good is we played at the Northcote, and it's a pretty sizable venue, and it was jam packed. So playing to a venue of that size, not that it's huge, but playing to a really chockers venue, crowd was really into it. It was an awesome show. But I think for me, the most fun was the last show on the tour, which was at the Foundry in Brisbane.
Okay.
And I think made it was the venue itself is awesome. The guy, the promoter there was, the hospitality was second to none. Had a huge sort of green room with a balcony overlooking the main drag of Fortitude Valley there, and it was as soon as we got there early afternoon, sound checked and that, and we were just on the terps, and it was a good lineup because it was us, Nezatris and Zong, and the Zong boys are good mates of ours.
Okay.
So we just had a blast, and I think again because it was the last show of the tour, we just we let loose. The Brizzy crowd were awesome. It was the bass player from Nezatris' birthday. So it was just
everything lined up.
Things aligned. It was just an amazing way to end the tour. But that whole tour was, we were well looked after by your mate, and it was awesome.
Actually, I can't remember what it was, but there was I think it was my day job prevented me from going to that Northcote gig. It was cool. I was going to be away, but it's funny. In some of these interviews, when I do ask that question, it's like I've just missed it. Like I've been a step behind, and it's kind of, oh crap, what is this? and of course, the Northcote being full with an international band might be a few years before we get back to that. Having an international band come in and fill a place,
Yeah. I think with that, like I said, between the two, I think the other thing with the Northcote is the sound was impeccable in the place. Nice big stage, good drum riser and everything. It was just I really loved that layout because it's sort of a rectangular sort of layout rather than being thin and long like a lot of the other venues. So everyone could see the sound was good. It was that was as a performer as such, that was a real joy to play. Just pure blast of a day and night was that Foundry show. It was just it was awesome.
Yes. I love it. And the other thing is that every time I ask that question, the smile that people, and this is why I like asking that question, is because it takes you to a place where you remember something awesome, and everyone just gets that cheeky smile of, man, the shit we got up to that night. It's like, we played well, we did, all that sort of stuff, and I love seeing that. It's brilliant. So tell me, so this question I ask, I want to know who you like to go and see that is local. So local to you in Sydney and New South, who's a band that you like to go and see and you get excited about?
Oh. It's a hard question because it depends. I mean, if I'm in the heavy sort of mood, Yanomamo is probably one I always enjoy seeing, and I've seen him a million times. Probably from a psych point of view, and they're only pretty relatively new anyway. But Robot God are pretty cool to watch.
Okay.
Good vibes, good dudes. They've got a pretty good thing happening. The funny thing is, there's not a lot of bands here. It's you would think, being the biggest city in the country, it's not, which is a big bloody shame. There's not a huge amount of bands. You've got Astro Death, of recent times, playing a lot. Mount Wizard Death Cult playing a lot. Awesome dudes. So we get to see them. Look, actually, you know what? I'm going to lie. There's another band, Potion.
Potion, yeah.
Potion are. I just love what they do.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Cough, Electric Wizard, and the boys and girl. The crew do sort of do the mix really well. Mad vibes when they play live. Good tones. Lee's vocals are awesome. Yeah, they're up there as well.
Well, at the risk we may get you to repeat yourself here. So think about locally, and actually let's not just think locally New South. Let's think locally Australia. Give me, including Comacozer, give me two other bands for your what you would say would be a perfect gig.
Easy. It'd be us, Dong, and Mount Mountain.
Okay.
From Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look. And who's headlining? Who's
bands?
Headlining?
Mount Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah. I reckon Zong kicking it off. And then I reckon we'll jump on and sort of take the vibe to another level, because Zong do a very similar thing to us. So yeah, they're the same but sort of different.
Yep.
And yeah, it's probably Zong, us jumping on, and then Mount Mountain, man, probably in the psych genre, my favourite band in Oz by far.
Oh, okay.
By far. The boys have been around.
I haven't heard them, so I've got to jump on that one. But it's, and I think, but you guys being second would be great, because you can have a couple of warm-up beers beforehand, get into the vibe, do your set, and they just cut loose on the end while the other guys are playing.
Well, you'll notice one, like, even, and this is intentional too, it's not often we headline. And there's a reason for it. Yeah. Because it basically what you said, we prefer not to, because of the nature we do, it really is that type of sort of music that will just tripping out, get the vibes going, and then another band comes on to headline. You know what I mean? Okay. For us to headline, I'm not saying that we don't do it, but we're not fussed on doing it, because, as I said, we prefer just to create that vibe, and then someone else, whether it's a band with vocals or a band that's a bit rockier or a bit heavier, sort of finishing it out. Yeah,
it's kind of like you're that tension before the scare in a horror movie.
It's a good way.
Build. Yeah, I like that.
Well, look, a lot of people are, over the years, gotten a lot of comments from people where they've said, some of your songs belong in a movie soundtrack, or a lot of our songs have been used in surfing videos, snowboarding videos. So yeah, it's that sort of it's sort of got that vibe and pattern.
Yeah, atmosphere setting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I love that. It's there's certainly times when you do want vocals and all that kind of stuff, but when you're going out on the town for the night and you get a band that can just, like you said, just set this atmosphere, and you can just get into it and just even close your eyes or whatever the case may be, and just just sort of gets, you know, lost in it. It's fantastic. I love it. It's
Yeah.
to me, it sometimes speaks more to you than the lyrics do, because the lyrics, I was thinking about this the other day when I was listening to some of your tracks. The music just speaks to you because it's just music, whereas when you have a song that has vocals, it becomes specifically around those vocals. So whatever the topic of the vocal is, that becomes like, you pick up on that, you hear that, you feel that, you also feel the vibe from the singer, and it's like they directing you.
Yeah.
But with instrumentals, especially in our genre, stoner doom, psych, that sort of stuff, you just get lost in it, and it just takes you wherever you're feeling like going.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. There is a tiny element that I would love to hear one of our songs with vocals, just to hear what it would sound like, right?
Yeah.
It might happen one day just out of curiosity, but there's just always been that part where, like, we couldn't have a vocalist, because that vocalist, if we were playing live, they'd be sitting there for 10 minutes doing nothing, right? Because you're not going to sit 15 minutes, and then we'll probably throw the person off, because we'll just go on a tangent.
Yeah, but that's why the tambourine was invented.
Yeah, and a triangle.
Gotta give them something to do, you know. But yeah, it's like it is that. It's you kind of go, you know, oh well, okay, I'll piss off and go and get a beer while you guys play, and I'll come back and do the vocals, you know, in about 5-6 minutes, and yeah, it'll be all right.
But like I said before, that the important part for what we do, and if you listen to the vinyl, it's always been about the journey. So every album we've done, it's been a theme, even though we have no lyrics. When you go through, whether it's the song titles or the theme of the artwork, there is a concept there, and every song, even like I said, there's not like it's a lot of structure, but when we've built it together, it really is a journey from start to finish.
That's where that bit of structure I was talking about before lives. That in that sort of organisation, not in the actual tunes. Yeah.
And that's the only stage when we get together. Look, we're working on new material, right? It might be I'll call it more of a concept melody than a riff.
Yeah.
Right. So Rick or Rich will come in and say, "Hey, I've got this sort of melody, you know, that I want to work on," and it sort of goes from there. Like, hey, I've got 10 riffs and blah 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 blah, and then the real discussion about structure is honestly when we're going to do the album. That's the only time we go, okay, well, we're going to have song titles here and an album title. What theme are we going for? Every album's obviously been, you know, sort of different, but dwelled on the same, whether it's mythology, cosmology, astrology, just a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Yep.
That's the only time we have structure. We say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Let's have a bit of a concept here with the artwork and the song titles, and then we move on. That's the largest element of structure that we've got. And obviously us playing live saying, okay, what we've got a 40-minute set, we've got 3 songs. So, and then half the time we'll go over anyway.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So, all right, I think I've got a fair idea who one of these bands is going to be, but same sort of question as last time.
Yeah.
But this time you can set any 3 bands from history, alive, dead, still playing, not playing, whatever. Give me three of them that's going to make you a perfect gig. You got the power of the gods here. Just what are you going to put together?
Me personally?
Yeah.
We'll say that's number 1, right?
Yep.
So I would say Black Sabbath, The Doors, Buffalo.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to throw Kyuss in there, but no, that's good. No. That's good.
No. Oh, you know what, top 3.
No. It's
If you said to me 10,
yeah.
might be a bit easy.
No, you don't have
But
to justify it. You don't have to justify it. But so yeah, Sabbath Doors and Buffalo.
yeah,
Who's headlining?
oh, Sabbath. Sabbath. I reckon the doors kicking it off.
Yeah, warming them up.
It's some
Yep.
killer psychedelia.
Yep.
Buffalo just rocking it up even more, and then the gods of gods,
Yeah.
finishing it off. Yeah, that's the ultimate for me.
That's
You know?
brilliant. I love it. Now we
And then-
touched. Oh, sorry, go on.
And maybe, you know, a bit of a cameo. Deep Purple, Zeppelin jumps in, you know, does something. And 3 bands is hard.
I know, but that's why I do it. I say 3
Yeah.
bands. I've had a couple of guys push me for 4, but it's, you know, it's what it is. It's tough. No one's actually said to me, well, what would you choose? And because I'm not going to answer it because I don't know.
It's hard. Like I said, for me to not have Pink Floyd, to not have Deep Purple, and not to have Led Zeppelin,
yeah,
and not to have Mountain, like, man, it's hard. Yeah, but those 3 bands. Yeah, look, Buffalo, it's a shame. I would have loved to have, you know, I wasn't obviously old enough to see them, even though we did play with Buffalo Revisited, which was a couple of the members, which was blast.
yeah.
But yeah, Sabbath was always going to be on the list.
Yeah. No, beautiful. So we talked before about you know, the gig at the Northcote being massive, and obviously at the moment down here in Victoria we're in lockdown. Up in New South, it's, you know, what it is for you guys as well. Sort of everything happening at once. What do you think? And there's no right or wrong here, obviously, but what do you think? You know, the future of these sort of gigs are going to look like? What do you think? What do you think it's going to be like? Is it going to be sort of real quick, you know, oh, we can play this week, so let's go? Or is it going to be, you know, long planning? Or, you know, what do you think it's going to look like?
You know what, look, deep down, I would love for it to just be, all right, let's get this moving again.
Yeah.
And more for the venues themselves. You know, like we had a chat offline before that, you know, there's so many people Australia-wide, hospitality, venue owners, promoters, booking agents, you know, bar staff, like have been absolutely reamed by what's gone on, right? So for me, it's as a musician, would I love to play live? Yeah. Do I want to go and catch up with all the boys, you know, in the scene and girls, and say hello and have a beer? Yeah, but man, I'm just more concerned about all the people that haven't worked, and I think you know, then the reality is, well, are they going to really want to focus on the bands, or just get the basics of the business back up and running again? I don't know. Like, these governments here, they're so erratic in the decision making. Don't know. But then the realism kicks in, and I reckon, especially up in Sydney, you know, they're talking about the next 2 weeks, things easing off, but then the one person per 4 square meter rule, and you know, are we going back to the sit down in a venue rubbish again? Who knows?
Yeah.
I still think normality up here, where we're all standing up and we're all jumping on each other and, you know, spilling beers on each other, and that might be a little bit off, you know, while off yet.
Yeah.
I hope not. But again, it comes back to the whole vax thing. We've all got to get vaxxed for this shit to happen. I understand people don't want to do it, and that's cool.
Yep.
Right, I totally get that. But who knows? You know,
do you think there might be? I know here in Melbourne, there's a bit of talk about venues changing, sorry. So like, more of your open air sort of venue, expanding beer gardens so that they're a bit bigger and you could actually put a stage under a beer garden cover, that kind of thing. Do you think that's kind of, the sort of thing that might happen?
Look, I think it would be a logical thing to happen. It'd actually be quite intelligent for people to do that. Obviously, thank God for Google and the internet that you've noticed the psych stoner scene. There's been a hell of a lot of open shows through Europe at the moment.
Yeah,
they're all open,
yep.
Right? So they're all doing their little festivals and stuff out in the open. Yep. And you know what? For someone like us, we would love to do that. We've been talking about it for years to say, hey, do we know anyone that's got a property where we can literally take some generators, a PA, and just get vibes happening on someone's property or out in the Blue Mountains here? Or I reckon it'd be so cool. Again, back to insurances and all this other bullshit. So, if someone wants to put their hand in their pocket and really take the punt to do it, all the power and credit, obviously I'd be there supporting them. But it isn't a logical thing to happen for people to do that. Again, it's really going to come back to the financials. If someone really wants to invest to say, I'm going to actually do that, I think it'll be a benefit to them, and I think it'd work. But time will tell.
Yeah, see what happens.
What happens. But it is quite a logical thing to happen. And then it stops again all this indoor, square meter, crap that's going on. But then on the flip side, when you look at the rest of the world, it's happening indoors. In the UK, I was actually chatting to the boys in the Zatras the other day, and they're playing shows, man. So, it's got to come back at some point. We just can't keep doing this shit.
Yeah, absolutely agree. No, it's good that it is true what you're saying. I thinking about, I've got a family member in the States, and they're saying that things seem to be falling back into place. Like you said, London, UK. So yeah, hopefully it's our turn soon. That'll be the thing.
Yeah, look, we're all having, chatting to the rest of the crew and that, and everyone's in the same boat. It's like, the retro chat with everyone to just have a beer, like even if it's not about the music. Which it always becomes about the music anyway, but
the community,
yeah, that's right. That's what it's really about.
It's a community that's used to meeting up on Saturdays and Friday nights, and
that's the one thing I've always loved about the Bendigo. As a venue, it's one of my favourites. We've played there a freaking heap of times, and I just love it that you will literally go down there just to catch up with people and have a beer. Same with the Tote, right?
Yep.
It's just got such a good vibe, and obviously they're close together, and you just go down there, people around from other bands, and we sort of, that's the one thing we're probably lacking up here. Pro Bar's pretty cool as a venue, it's got good beer garden and stuff like that, but we're sort of probably lacking that venue where everyone sort of catches up as such. But that's the one thing I always really love, the vibe at the Bendigo, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, one of my favourite places.
Yeah.
So what's on for you guys at the moment? Like with everything going on the way it is, are you writing? Are you preparing merch? Have you got stuff in the pipeline going on?
Well, really, our focus, we're 100 days of lockdown here, and we've been a little bit late, but really the focus is the new album. We haven't had, our last one was released in 2019, and we've actually been quite privileged. We were at a point there where we had a final release each year from 2015, I think, or 2016 onwards, it's just every year's been an album, or we've had a couple of splits in there. So we've had a lot of money for us not having something out in this year or last year. The focus is we are working on a new album. Hopefully, the plan is to hit the studio at the end of the year, if we're allowed, which I think we should be. It shouldn't be a problem. And we'll jump in, track a new LP. The new album will be released on Made of Stone Records from Greece. So Christos, who runs the label and also does his management and booking part, he's been hounding us for a while. So we're like, he's such a cool dude. So we're something a little bit different and release the next album with him.
Nice.
The other thing, and I've got to be careful, there are represses coming of 3 of the albums, and they will be quite special because most of our vinyl, I think you're lucky you might find a few copies of pressing of Midriasis somewhere, but the other ones are long been out of print.
Yep.
We have a lot of people ask, we've got guys paying big dollars for it on Discogs. So we sort of were always we just sort of thought, okay, we've done it. It's sold out. We've moved on. But I think this time we sort of just said, okay. The good thing about it, even though they're represses, they're not the same product, if that's the best way to put it.
I think I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But
So
we'll leave it unsaid. But
yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. So that pressing plants and stuff at the moment. Another label will announce it. Who's doing it? Awesome crew there. So we've been talking about it for ages, and finally we sort of succumbed to the idea because it's going to be different. So, which is pretty cool. So,
sometimes you got to give them what they want. Yeah, let them wait a while. You let them wait a while, but then you know. It's all good.
It's a shame. Like the other thing, if it wasn't for COVID, we would have been in Europe now.
Yeah.
So we had a 21-day, 21 shows that were going to happen through Europe. We were going to play a lot of them with the Zatras, a couple of festivals and stuff like that. But COVID fucked that up. So and then Mr. Rich, our bass player, had a baby. So it worked out well in the end because he's got a newborn anyway. Well, baby's 1 year old now, but so that was so it might happen. Made of Stone is still they still want us to do it. When that happens, who knows? Yep. But look, I think that's probably, for me personally, that's the last thing on the bucket list as far as music's concerned. It's like we've had a heap of been privileged enough to have a lot of vinyl releases. We've done an awesome tour with Aussie tour with the Zatras. I think playing overseas is the sort of that last thing. It's like, hopefully we get to do it at some point.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
And then you just have to add something on the top of the bucket list. The next thing, yeah, absolutely. It's funny how you set those little goals for yourself, and the little goals become bigger goals and bigger goals and bigger goals and bigger, and they get so big, and you reach it, and you're just like, shit. Now what do we do? So the next thing.
You say that it's talk about it as a collective all the time. That we remember when we first kicked off, and we went in the studio to do a demo, and it was the worst recording experience I've ever had. It was so fucked up. Where the engineer rocked up 2 hours late. It
Oh.
was, oh man, he was off his tree. It was just horrible, absolutely horrible. So thank God for Dave Byrne down there who he fixed up the recordings as best he could.
Wow.
You know, Dave's an absolute genius behind the desk. So yeah, we were sort of happy just to do that, right? We were like, oh yeah, man, we had a few songs. It's like, oh, we'll go and record them and you know, see what happens there. And then, mate, it was you know, when that time, when we got, I'll never forget when we got that email from Hits saying, oh, look, we want to do a vinyl with you guys. We were like, okay, is this a scam email or is it a scam or some shit? And then, you know, when we had that Day Loon Sessions vinyl in our hands, it was, mate, like we were sort of, oh yeah, that's it. We're cool now. And then, like you said, it's like, oh, you know, the label's like, oh, we're going to do another one. It's like, yeah, and then, well, let's do another one. And then, just, you know, six vinyl releases later, it's like, oh, okay, what's next?
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's a fantastic record. I mean,
oh, look, it's
record of records.
Yeah, look, look, it's quite flattering that even to this day, I just sit there and, you know, you know, an instrumental band from Aussie that does pretty weird shit. That you know, we've been, you know, looked after so well, and there's been some type of hype, you know, or hype or vibe about it, whatever you want to call it. It's I still can't grasp it. I think for me, personally, that whole instrumental aspect, even though I love it, whether it's bands like you know, Blown Out or Yuri Gagarin or the Space Lords or whatever, right, or My Sleeping Karma, and you know, it's yeah, I just always found it bizarre. I was like, oh, people actually like what we do because it is pretty unusual, right? But it's cool.
There's all sorts of sayings about, you know, if someone makes it, someone will listen to it. So there's always that way, but no, it's really good. So I want to ask you, we're nearing the end here, but every time I interview someone, I request for them to give me a song to put on my Spotify playlist. So what I want to do is get you to tell me which song from you guys we're going to put on.
Wow. Okay.
And you've got a few to choose from, obviously.
Oh, jeez. Do you want a short one or what?
Mate, it's a Spotify playlist. It's, you know, it's as long as you want.
You know what? I would probably put up Son of Hyperion.
Yep.
Reason being, I think it's quite a sentimental track, being that it was the first song we ever did.
Yep.
And I think the song titles were being a little bit cheeky. They're the same song, but one's obviously the original, and we've got the newer version. But I think the updated version we did on the split with Venom Sabath is just it's just got that sort of nostalgia of what we first did and what the song is today. And we love playing that song live. It always gives me goosebumps when I hear that riff, that opening riff. But yeah, I think it's our first song. I think it's probably the one that should go on. So I'll probably change it later, but anyway.
That's all right. So Son of Hyperion.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So we're going to head off, but what I do want to do is I'm going to put heaps of links and shit down in the whole YouTube underneath to the band. I'm going to put Son of Hyperion on the Spotify playlist.
Cool.
And we'll do a link. We'll do a few other links and stuff like that. But Andrew Pana, thanks for your time.
Mate, yeah, great work on this, man. It's really cool to have this type of channel for for bands like us to have a say and put a face to the name. like we said, there's not too much info about Comacozer out there. So,
yeah.
Well, you've got the worst looking face of the band here and the oldest, but we appreciate the support. And keep up the good work, man. It's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. See you later.
Dude, stay safe.